losing like this.
Yeah.
Because this is what we say. We say today that Joker's the best player in the game, right? He might not win MVP, but he's the best player.
I'm telling the world, you'll never convince me that LeBron is the GOAT over Michael Jordan. I know what the hell I saw, okay? And I've been watching both. I'm not moving. Anybody else can do what the hell they want. I ain't gonna change their life, but they damn sure ain't gonna change mine.
Jordan had his thing with the gambling. Like every Floyd Mayweather had his issues going with the jail, Tyson. All the greats at the top went through something. LeBron is 20-something years in, and I don't see no blemish.
Yeah.
That's incredible to me.
Paul Pierce just led a match under one of the most sensitive conversations in basketball. And when he said numbers don't lie about LeBron's finals record, you already knew this was going to get messy. Because the second you bring up finals wins and losses, especially when it comes to LeBron James, the conversation instantly splits into two sides. One side sees dominance and longevity. The other sees missed opportunities on the biggest stage. And now Paul Pierce just pushed that debate right back into the spotlight. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Pierce isn't wrong about the numbers. LeBron has played in 10 NBA Finals and won 4 of them, giving him a 4-6 record. That's a fact. You can't spin it, you can't ignore it, and that's exactly what Pierce is leaning on. In his mind, when you're in the GOAT conversation, your finals record has to be part of the discussion. And when you compare that to Michael Jordan's 6-0 record, it creates a contrast that's impossible to ignore.
If we were the same age, I don't believe he would have had 4 championships. He wouldn't have got
You'd kept him for 4?
He wouldn't have got those 2 in Miami. Because I gotta believe if we're the same age and I could offset him, and that would have been good enough.
But this is where it gets dangerous, because numbers without context can tell 2 completely different stories. Yes, LeBron is 4-6 in the finals, but what Pierce doesn't always highlight, or what fans choose to overlook, is how LeBron got there in the first place. 10 finals appearances across different teams, different conferences, and different stages of his career. That level of consistency is something we've almost never seen before. Now, let's break it down properly, because if we're going to say numbers don't lie, then we need all the numbers, not just the convenient ones. LeBron's finals losses came against some of the most stacked teams in NBA history. The 2007 loss, a 22-year-old LeBron carrying a young Cleveland team against the Spurs dynasty. The 2015 finals, missing Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love against a rising Golden State team. And then you've got those Warriors teams with Kevin Durant added to an already dominant core.
Let this had been LeBron losing at 29 after winning 3 out of 4 MVPs, he will be getting scolded tomorrow. And if we're saying Joker and the international game is better than America's and at the top and all of this and he's the best player, and this is what's happening?
This is where young players usually make a mistake. They look at the outcome, not the journey. They see 4-6 and think failure without understanding what it takes just to reach that stage 10 times. Because getting to the finals isn't guaranteed. It's not easy. It requires dominance over an entire conference year after year. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Paul Pierce is coming from a completely different perspective. Pierce himself went to the finals twice and won 1 championship in 2008 with the Boston Celtics. His view of success is shaped by a different path. He didn't dominate the conference for a decade straight like LeBron, so when he looks at finals records, he values efficiency over volume. Fewer trips, higher success rate. And to be fair, that argument has some weight. In sports, winning matters, championships matter. And when you're comparing the greatest players ever, those moments under the brightest lights carry a lot of significance. That's why Jordan's 6-0 record is often seen as the gold standard. But this is where it gets complicated, because if finals record is the ultimate measure, then what do we do with players who didn't make it there as often? Do we reward players for losing earlier in the playoffs instead of reaching the finals and losing there? Because technically, a player who loses in the conference finals avoids adding a loss to their finals record. And that's where the logic starts to break down.
You know, Glorious James Kidd from Akron, that's 50 ball on his head. 7 rebounds, 6 assists. The truth is built different. In big games, you want Paul Pierce on your team. And this is from a Laker fan. I hate you, Boston. Y'all are sorry. Y'all should be called the Boston Russells. But you can't deny his greatness, bro.
This is where it gets dangerous again, because the GOAT debate turns into selective storytelling. One side highlights LeBron's losses, the other highlights his longevity in competition, and both sides use numbers to support their argument. So who's right? Here's the reality. Both sides have valid points. LeBron's 4-6 record does raise questions when you compare it to Jordan's perfection in the finals. But LeBron's 10 appearances also show a level of sustained excellence that's hard to match. It's not just about winning, it's about being in position to win year after year. Let's also talk about performance, because this is something that often gets overlooked in the numbers don't lie argument. LeBron has delivered some of the most iconic finals performances in NBA history. The 2016 comeback against the Warriors, coming back from 3-1 against a 73-win team, is something that completely shifts how we view his legacy. That wasn't just a win, that was one of the greatest moments in basketball history. And then there are the individual stats. LeBron consistently puts up elite numbers in the finals: points, rebounds, assists, often leading both teams in multiple categories. So while the record says 4-6, the performances tell a more nuanced story.
You know, like if he had got 40 in Game 6 and we the same, I would probably got 40 and offset him.
Right.
You know, I was at an older age then, a lot of miles and stuff, and it was hard for me to keep up with him. I ain't gonna lie. I'll be looking at that tape shredder and I'm like, damn.
Here's the part nobody is talking about. Paul Pierce's comment isn't really about stats. It's about perspective. It's about what you value when you define greatness. Do you value perfection, or do you value longevity and consistency? Because depending on your answer, your GOAT is going to change. This is where young players usually make a mistake again. They think there's one correct answer, but there isn't. Basketball isn't that simple. Greatness isn't a formula you can solve with one stat. Now, let's address the emotional side of this debate, because that's a big part of why it gets so intense. LeBron fans feel like his losses are unfairly used against them, ignoring the context. Meanwhile, critics feel like his finals record shows he's not as dominant as someone like Jordan when it matters most, and both sides are deeply invested in their viewpoint. This is where it gets dangerous one more time, because the conversation stops being about basketball and starts becoming personal. Fans defend their favorite players like they're defending their identity, and that's when the debate loses its balance. But if we strip away the emotion and look at it objectively, here's what we're left with. LeBron James is one of the greatest players to ever play the game. His finals record is part of his story, but it's not the entire story. It's one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And Paul Pierce? He's doing what analysts and former players often do, emphasizing the part of the puzzle that aligns with his perspective. It doesn't mean he's completely wrong. It just means he's not telling the full story. So when Pierce says numbers don't lie, the real question is, which numbers are we talking about? Because numbers can tell the truth, but they can also hide it, depending on how you use them. And that brings us to the bigger picture, because the GOAT debate isn't just about LeBron or Jordan or anyone else. It's about how we define greatness. It's about what we choose to value. And until everyone agrees on that, which probably will never happen, this debate is going to keep going. So I'll leave you with this. If LeBron's 4-6 finals record is such a big deal, does that mean reaching the finals and losing is worse than not getting there at all? Because once you answer that question, you might realize the GOAT debate isn't as simple as numbers don't lie. It's about what those numbers actually mean.